Alrighty. So last time we were, as in myself, um, doing this, and yeah, very very boring. Um, but I made a lot of progress with this type of system. There's something kind of strange there. Yeah, no, that's well, that yeah, weird. Um, but I made a lot of progress with this over at work today. So I email myself stuff, and I emailed this to myself. And I want to take a look at this because this is a much better implementation, and I'll explain a little bit as we go. So what I'm going to do here is hit edit in Notepad, Control A, Control C, go over to my main, Control A, Control V. And then over here, it's called game object in this case. I'm actually going to straight up delete game object. So we're going to go. Yep, we're going to delete that file. And I wonder if I can just straight up import, but we're gonna create a new one, new Python file. This is called fizzlib because the idea here is to take this and we're going to be making a game, but we're kind of going really deep into the weeds. I want to do a physics-based game, and I want to do it myself as much as possible. Of course, you can't invent these things. And this is kind of what I came up with at work today. So we're going to go ahead and hit stop here. Just taking a look. Looks like I downloaded the correct one. Just going to double check over here. Actually, interestingly enough, interestingly enough, it's not quite the last iteration I did at work, which is interesting. But it'll do. It'll do enough. Pretty sure. Just want to double check something here. Let's go ahead and hit play. Yep, so this is what we got going on. Now, one of my big mistakes yesterday was when I was talking about the kinematic equation, I came up with a really weird way to go about it. So let me close out of those. So what I did was say, hey, the kinematic equation is equal to 1/2 mass times the velocity squared, right? And then I solve for velocity using algebra, and then with the v equals acceleration times time equation, I solve for acceleration, replace what v equaled in the kinematic way, and I put it in. And that night, I had a conversation with ChatGPT. No, not giving it code, but really talking through kind of like my logic, where I went wrong. And it suggested something that's kind of like, what the heck? Why didn't I think of that? Force equals mass times acceleration. Yeah. So let's take a look here. Way up here, I define a physics vector. This is something that it told me, like, hey, you probably want to do this. And I put a comment here for myself. Pay attention to the scalar versus vector, because what I wasn't realizing is kinetic energy and potential energy is a scalar value. Technically, it is not a vector. And another thing, if we compare this to I deleted it, so right. With the code that we had, it was one of the viewers here said, hey, you should be using copy because you don't want, otherwise you won't be your physics won't be resolved correctly, so on and so forth. That turned out to actually be a major part of the problem. So we don't use copies in this comparison for loop. Very similar to what we did yesterday there. But up here, if we look, we have a mass, a position, velocity, acceleration, notice gravity, A is grounded, and a force. A force is a vector. You can have a force in the x direction, y direction, z direction if you're doing 3D. And I decided to go, okay, my object, not game object in this sense, because I'm building very generic, and what we see here, not to go off on another tangent, but what we see here with this, we will not be spawning objects in Python. That is definitely not what we want to do. Not at all. We want to do the math over here in Python. Python's pretty damn good, especially with like NumPy and stuff, to do the mathematics. We're going to have it do math, ship that data over to C++, and go, hey, C and C++, do this shit for us. Because what will happen is if you manage all the objects here, you will get slowdown. I can show that by very quickly. Let's just make a bool just to showcase this, and we're going to say mouse pressed is false, and then over here, mouse button down, that's fine. Control C. Ooh, whoa, that was kind of interesting. I'm going to do a elif. I'm going to Control V, paste this in here, and believe we can do mouse button up is what I'm looking for. Just going to call that if. Maybe my indentation slightly skewed. Yeah, looked like indentation was an issue there. We're going to indent that too. So if mouse button is up, instead of like adding the ball here, and this is just to showcase something really quick, we're going to do mouse button is pressed false. So boom, and here we're going to say is true. And then in the update loop, so Control X, right down here, if mouse pressed, do this stuff. Now, let's make it interesting. I suppose that's fine. Hit play. Now I'm going to push and hold, right? If we had a lot of these objects, we will get slowdown. Massive slowdown. Now, I have a pretty damn good computer, so it's going to take a while for it to actually slow down. But now you can kind of see, right? Like it's lagging a little bit. This is really transparent if we go and say something like, if mouse pressed for I in range, and let's just say like 500, boom, needs the colon there, boom, right, like things just completely flipped there. Let's try 100, bam, again, doesn't like the, doesn't like that. I think actually it has something to do with this, and this is something I had fixed previously. I guess when I saved copy pasted, it definitely didn't like it. Yeah, so right here I'm missing the otherwise. Boom, boom, boom. Otherwise, then we can do this. And I'll go back and I'll explain a lot of this. I just want to showcase when we spawn a shit ton of items, or a shit ton of projectiles, or whatever the heck this is, we will get some slowdown. On my computer, it's actually not terrible, which is fantastic, honestly. Um, kind of want them small. Bah. Yeah, check that out. Okay, here, yep. Now we can really see the pain. So, C and C++, it's not necessarily going to be like, oh yeah, this is solved, right? No, it's going to be better because Python, I guess, isn't so great at drawing and handling objects all at once, all the time, especially at this amount, with this many collision checks and all of that stuff. So that's just to kind of explain why I'm going to go about it the way I am for this. Think about this as very similar to what Godot or Unity does, in the fact of they have like C Sharp, or in the case of Godot, they have GDScript. And these scripting languages are used, but the back end is C++. Basically doing the same thing. Now, you can argue I'm going way too far, it doesn't need to happen, for sure. Absolutely. Why am I doing it? Because I want to. And that's, yeah. So anyway, I described what an object has, right? Mass, velocity, all this stuff here. And object itself is a child. It has inherited the properties of what a physical vector is. And in its constructor, we just pass in an x and a y and a mass. Notice radius is just mass divided by 10. Instead of how we were doing it last time, it's just a little vice versa there. This physics calculation, we run and we say, hey, depending on this object's mass, it is multiplied by gravity. That is its acceleration. That's like its initial acceleration. This out of bounds thing technically isn't really working that well for the x. I got to fix a little bit of that. And since in all honesty, we're going to move a lot of this to C++, this isn't necessary here. We have an out of bounds for y as well. That way, boop, kind of helps the it falling and hitting the ground. The collision code, pretty self-explanatory. If the sum of the radiuses of the circles is greater than or equal to the distance, then yeah, they're colliding. Otherwise, they're not. This normalized thing here, so this is something I did not realize, that when handling collisions, and this is very apparent from yesterday, you have to check the normal. What face or area did it actually collide with? So here, we use the Pythagorean theorem to find this distance value. Now, the reason we have like this if distance is 0, then vectors blah, 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 is because we're dividing by distance, and if that's ever divisible by 0, we're going to get issues. So if it's not, if this is any number a little bit bigger than 0 or a little bit smaller than 0 or anywhere in between other than 0, the to normalize something, and this is something I didn't quite realize, but when I was making XP bars in the dungeon crawler and with the health bar, every time you level up, let's say you have like this rectangle here and it represents your health, and you're like, okay, this is my max health and my current health is however much in this bar is filled. When you level up, you might have your max health increase or the max amount of XP increase, right? But you don't necessarily want that bar to creep over. And so I learned normalizing as kind of keeping this thing limited in a sense. But when it came to vectors, I didn't really understand what that meant. And so today, I was years old when I learned you find the distance between the two objects. And you normalize them by going, hey, it is that distance in the x and that distance in the y between them divided by c. So you do a squared plus b squared is c squared. Take the square root, you have c. Then you just take the a and b, and you go a divided by c b divided by c, that is your normalized vector. And what that does is that produces basically a scalar quantity. It doesn't have really a direction. Well, in this case, it does, an x and a y, but it keeps things at 1, right? Vector length 1. So its magnitude is 1. And that's the more proper. The magnitude is 1. The direction exists, in a sense. So we're returning whatever this normalized vector creates, or this normalized function creates. We do it, we return it. And inside this collision calc that also takes in a target, we say, hey, run this function up here, store this value. Then there's a fancy thing called a dot product. Now this, I can't really describe in good detail. I had a lot of reading to do, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm sure that there's a few of you out there, maybe several, maybe I'm the only one, who you guys might actually really understand what's going on here. This, I believe, is what's giving me my scalar value. Where we go, hey, take the velocity of the first object and the normalized value of it. So we normalize it, bam. And we normalize the target. Actually, this is the normalizing the x and the y of the first guy. This is normalizing the x and the y of the second guy. And we go, okay, now that we have this, we're going to take that, and believe it or not, we're going to multiply it by the normalization again. Why you just don't square it up here? Not quite sure. To be honest with you, seems a little weird, right? Like, couldn't you just do times square? Possibly, likely. But this is the way I went about it. This I had a hard time writing. I wrote this part several times, and I was following what ChatGPT was telling me, and it's like, hey, you're really, really close, but it needs to be like this. And no matter how I wrote it, it was always either redlined or just did not make logical sense. And so I did end up copy pasting this right here, full on, but not this. This I worked through with it, logic-wise. This I struggled with. And this is calculating the new velocity, the new vector, really. Like, what is the direction upon the impact of the objects. And then from this physcalc, we actually return this. And this is something I didn't realize you could do in Python, where you can return multiple values. That's kind of neat. That's a little broken. So once we have that over here in the update function, I got some out of bounds stuff going on, common. So we do this physcalc. That's setting the acceleration as explained above. The gravity force applied to the mass of the object. Then we calculate its acceleration. Velocity changes by acceleration over time. Position changes by velocity over time, or by time, yada, yada, yada. Here, this is saying, hey, if we hit the ground, otherwise, we are applying a little bit of friction in the x direction. And this here, believe it or not, actually, this is like your elastic collision system. If you were to remove the 0.8, it would bounce up as high as it did from where it starts. So you just have like this bouncy ball. This slowly lowers the bounce over time. And you always go, the opposite of where you were initially going. Then we do a bucket like I did before, right? We describe this big old object here. This object is inherited from another object. Then inside of this bucket, we go, hey, we have like an add ball class. We have a update class, we have a draw class, and then a group of collisions, which very similar to yesterday. We have a range of I, a range of j, set the balls equal to what they are. If they're not equal with each other, then we go, hey, this here is where we gathered from that normals. We then set the velocity of those guys. We fix the overlap, and as you noticed, this fixed overlap and below, this was ChatGPT. This was, because I got this far, and things worked pretty well, except the balls would sink into each other. And I tell you what, when they sink into each other like that, it's a little heartbreaking. And I read through this, it makes sense. So this here, again, making sure that there's no divisible by zero scenario right here. Using the Pythagorean theorem to then create a overlap shift. This here is basically what happens above in the normalized function. Right? We calculate the normals and hit it to position, so on and so forth. I don't know how much of this is actually necessary considering what's above, but it seemed pretty useful. As with this simulation now, it runs pretty good, pretty smooth. And so if I'm gonna go like this, Control C, go here, Control V, and we're gonna backspace this off. I'm gonna say 30 and 50. Then we're going to turn the mouse pressed stuff going again. Boom, 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 boom. Just like so. Hit play. And we can spray these guys around like this. So they bounce. We can go like this. We can write with it. Alright, so pretty cool, pretty neat. Over time it will slow to a grinding halt. And it is what it is with that. Because now that there's a basic physics implementation, the question has to be asked, what kind of game are we making, right? What is it that I spent all this time for? And to be very transparent, I'm not quite sure. And that's what we're going to talk about today, and do a little planning and a little interop setup, because this is nice, but we don't want to be creating objects in Python and then shipping those objects out. What that's going to do is it's going to have a lot of calls. It's going to slow down a lot because every time you send from Python to C++, there's a lot of communication that has to happen. It's going to slow down the program. We want to minimize that. One could argue you should just not even do it in Python and just do it in C++, or vice versa. And that's 100% valid. My reason for wanting to do this is I think it'd be a neat portfolio piece. Kind of showcasing how I've gone from one to another, and then building a game off of it, and then slowly building more games. So the purpose isn't to be like, oh, let's build the best magnum opus game right now. Like, absolutely not. However, I think there's enough of a physics framework here to start building a very small, scoped game, something that maybe takes 2 weeks, right? a 2 week system where then I spend 2 months polishing, right? So like we have physics now. We spend 2 weeks just really developing what is going to be the gameplay, and then from there, polish. And when we have a solid setup, release it on Edge, get some play testers, and enjoy the game. The plan from there is to go, okay, what worked here? What didn't work? The code that I wrote for this prototype, in a sense, can then be shifted and morphed. So, for example, with Gravity, a platformer could be quite easy, right? And probably the best. This physics scenario for a RTS doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though could be interesting, right? But you also got to think about, or me in the scenario of the customer, the person who plays the game. They have different needs, right? Like people who play Factorio, like myself, like very in-depth structures, mechanics, things like that. Whereas if you play Grand Theft Auto 5, you probably want to shoot shit and blow it up. Drive your car really, really fast. If you play Schedule 1, you don't even got to go there. But with all this said, it depends on, customer, what audience I'm trying to actually meet. And then how can I take what is already here and build it into something larger, but a little at a time. And so I am thinking kind of this, and let's go into paint, because this would be something not too terribly hard, not out of scope, not necessarily like the funnest thing ever either. So it's kind of like a nice little happy medium. We've all played Sonic, or at least I hope most of us have. I'm going to go like this. We're going to go into like here. Sonic is kind of like a little endless runner. Oh, okay then. Yeah, funky. So Sonic's like a little endless runner. Maybe we'll get lucky now. All right, that's totally dandy. And I don't want to necessarily make an endless runner. Don't get me wrong. But if we had like some type of player, right? And it is a very basic platformer. Very basic. You have some type of enemy. Hear me talking all generic. Of course, you have some type of enemy. But you got some type of enemy. You have some type of goal, right? You gotta get to a certain purpose. And we could think like, okay, is it like 2D Risk of Rain? Is it like Noita? And to that I say scope, right? Like those are great games. Those are fantastic games. And I'm looking to make something within 2 weeks and then polish it for 2 months as a very simple proof of concept prototype for this small physics engine I'm building. With that said, I think a couple cool things could take place in an environment like this. If we had, let's say, like a double wall structure here, right? And here's our player. And I'm going to paint our player in like a pinkish. And it's going to highlight the whole screen because I'm unlucky. So we're going to go like that. Okay. And boom. So let's say that's our player. With the way this physics is set up, if our player is like that ball that you see dropping like so, if we're a ball and we can interact with the environment like these balls can with each other, then we could not easily necessarily, but there is the potential to do the boom, 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 right? And with that said, this is relatively what I think I'm going to be going for. Some type of like slime sludge-like creature. We're not going to worry too much at first about pressures of gases, like soft body physics. Eventually, that would be really, really neat. But for now, scope wise and one at a time. And so, with this scenario, we can render this. And I think something that the guy Daisy Trains, who does the Daisy Train streams, was telling me about, should probably try making the same game over and over in different frameworks. And so, at first we're going to use SDL or not SDL. First we're going to use OpenGL with SFML. But I think after we build out this yeah, throw over your code or tell me about it. Yeah, I'd love to help. I don't know. I don't know if I can solve it for you. I'm gonna be honest. Some of these things I've come across, they'd be quite crazy. Um, Shit. There's a couple ways. Let's see. Let me. Oh shit. Kind of fucking up over here. Just give me a hot second. So one way we can go about this, and I'm going to throw that over here, is let me close that out. We could do Pastebin. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a nice little copy paste tool. So I'll give you a little demo. You can paste code here. If you wanted, you could give it syntax highlighting. In this case, I don't think it matters much. And then you'd come down, you'd give it like a title, and you'd hit create new paste. It's gonna like verify you're not like AI or whatnot. And then it goes, hey, your paste has been pasted. And then I believe you could just like, how do you go about this? There's a thingamabob, like a little like a URL. I think it's like just this. Yeah, I mean, shit, Discord it. Do you have my Discord? Maybe. Okay. This is me. I'm gonna go like this. Copy, paste, boom. Yeah, go ahead and throw it over. Which reminds me, I should probably throw this out here as well. Boop. I don't know if that's. Oh no, that's that's definitely not even something. Okay, request sent. Bam, boom, bam. All right, boom. Yeah, go ahead and throw her over. We'll take a gander. Just gonna view a message. All right, boom. God damn. Okay. We'll download that. Boom. File save. We're just gonna go ahead, new project. I'm gonna call this test Dan. Dan bag. Boom, 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 boom. Notepad. Where the heck did that go? Bam. Open. Control A. Control C. Boom. New Python file. Bam. All right. Taking a look here. Got an error. No module named Pygame. Ah, yeah. One Memento. Bam. Pygame. Install. There's a PNG file as well. Okay. Oh, damn. That looks pretty damn good. That's neat as hell. I think I go open in browser, save image as, save, boom, downloads. Took 10 minutes on Pascal. Well, you're a much better artist than myself. Looks pretty nice. Well, I do have some of the Adobe Illustrator and so like the Creative Cloud. I do have that, but I would say compile this thing. Aseprite's badass. You don't even have to spend the $20. You can compile it. I did pay $20. I'm a struggling college student, so don't at me on that stuff there. But I did do that. It was handy. The reason why I got the Adobe Creative Cloud is I'm in the digital animation and game design. Yeah, it's a one-time. It's a one-time 20. It's on itch.io. It's super, super nice. One thing I really like on it, then we'll get to your code, is, let's say you drew some stuff. You can Control A, Control B. Now that's like your brush. So if you're to like make like a big guy, you could like, I don't know, like use it as a brush or some shit, like how to make a tree outline, whatever it is. Yeah, nice tool, very handy if you have an artistic sense. Let's take a look here. Yeah, things seem to be decent. What exactly is your is the issue that you've been noticing with this guy? I'm gonna hit play. Okay. This is. Can I shoot? What is going on here? Oh, that is. Okay, so that's damage. So do I want this? Oh no, that's damage too. Interesting. Click the yellow bombs. Oh. Okay. No, yeah, that's pretty neat. What if I like? So what's your spacebar for project? Oh, that's neat. That's super. Oh, that's super cool. Hell yeah. If it's level 2, if it's level 1, have 1 bomb. If it's level 2, show 2 bombs. Every 10 points, level up. Okay. Seems reasonable. Boom, boom. Bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. What if I just like sit here like this? Looks different on my computer, hello. I mean, it looks cool. It's nice. I go up and down and spam spacebar. Not too lazy for that. Yeah, nah, this is sweet, man. Oh, okay. I see why you go up and down a spam space bar. All right, so what's the dealio here? You go, since you're live, could you give me a hand with something? I can't figure out how to fix my code for what I'm trying to make happen. What is it that you're trying to make happen? I'm curious because this is looking pretty damn good. It's interesting you kept it all to one file. Nothing's wrong with that. Seems like you have some cool stuff going. Okay, so load it up again. You'll explain. Sounds good. All right. So what's the dealio? I'm like doing shit. I'm not even spraying. I'm just like yada yada. Yeah. I mean, we all start somewhere, man. And every time I start a new project, it feels like I'm teaching myself. It's endless like that, but it's good. It's part of the thing. Yeah, see how the bombs keep spawning. Oh, the green guys or the yellow guys? Until level 2. Then spawn 2 bombs, etc. until 50. Now we're 4 bombs at 4. Now we're at 5. Yep, go on. So on and so forth. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, 6. Bam, bam. Boom, boom, boom. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so they keep coming. I'm gonna close and run again. So we have 1. We're at level 1. Score is 0. I click bomb, gives me a score of 1. Have 1. Now we'll score at 2. Still 1. 3. There's score 4. Score 5. Score 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And then it spawns 1, and now it spawns 2. They basically should only spawn per level instead of respawning. They should basically should only spawn per level instead of respawning. If that makes sense. Let me try to phrase it in another way, and you tell me if I'm if I'm off bounds here. So when it spawns 1 and I click it, it spawns another. And you're saying they basically should only spawn per level instead of respawning. It should disappear. Yeah, so when you click this, you don't want it to appear again. Okay. Yeah. And then, okay, so you don't want it to spawn again. I don't know how you level up then. You said mechanics will change. That's fine. Well, yeah, so that's, but if you only want that to spawn 1 time, then boom, 2 yellow bombs spawn. Right, and then when we kill both, boom. Okay. So it's wherever you're spawning these little bombs here. So I'm gonna hit. It's probably called hit particle. Maybe. That sounds like a thing. I don't know if that's yellow. I can't read hex, but I'm about to say it's hit particle. Create bombs. Update, animate, draw, destroy bombs, trigger bombs, explosion. There's 2 draw bombs here. Yellow is 255, 215, 0, RG. Yeah, no blue. Makes sense. um, Forgive me as I hunt for your. Ah. So, this is your issue right there. I haven't learned how to split files and throw them together, so I stay with one long code-ass area. Yeah, don't worry about that. That's technically you just hit new, go to file, and how you've been doing your like import thing here. You just import your file name, and if you have a class in that file, you'll do like from my new file import my new class, and then you just have access to it. Which is neither here nor there. This is your problem, I think. So you're saying, hey, if I don't have a bomb, if there are no bombs, for this in that, randomize my new bomb, and or like create my new bomb basically, and then append it. Which is this is something I might want to take a look at here. This is looks actually. Yeah, no. This little circle guy. But I'm guessing, since you want it to be like, hey, only once per level, you can have like this if not bombs. But wherever your level guy is, so I'm gonna go like this real quick. This is just gonna make a nice red line for me so I can hunt around. Do like Control F and type in level. So it looks like that's global. That's fantastic. So then I'm going to go back to this red here and just go, yo, if not bombs, do you have like a Boolean that says leveled up? Just out of curiosity. Max level, is in range. Yeah, so from min level, 250. If no bombs, it's definitely the if no bombs. You have a function that controls the level up. This? Yeah. I have a Boolean for bombs clicked, but I haven't figured out how to flag it properly. We could probably take a look at that too. But it's definitely you made a lot of progress here, and it's looking pretty nice. The issue, from what I'm seeing with just what you're describing, you only want it to happen with the one time. Right here, it's if a bomb doesn't exist, create a bomb. When you click a bomb, you're probably removing the bomb. Therefore, it's going to then, of course, create another bomb. You want a different type of flag here. So, like, if leveled up, right? Like, so here, I'm trying to think of something because I don't want to add like a bunch of Booleans. There should be a very concise way to go, hey, this has happened, and we set a flag, and when that flag has been reached, then we are allowed to do this, but then we need to okay. For bombs clicked, the Boolean for bombs clicked. We're gonna use that guy right there. Actually, we're not gonna use that guy. We're gonna say fuck that guy. No, not like that. But so what? So we're gonna do, what the heck is it called? Has leveled. Okay, right. So has leveled. Then we're gonna come all the way down here. wherever you're level up here. We're going to go if has leveled is true. Okay, so we're just like, yo, leveled up, has leveled is true. Right here, if has leveled is false. Why is it mad at me? What did I do? Hello. Is that we out of scope somewhere? That's player class. Shouldn't be out of scope. I was gonna double check. Maybe my indentation was funky. Maybe it was just trying to catch up yet. Has leveled is true. If has leveled. Why is it mad there? Does it tell me why? Doesn't mind it there. I thought I did put it globally. Is this not global right here? Is this somehow outside of global? Because that's kind of where I'm a little bit slow. It is, but you have to call it in the function. So I gotta call it there. Global level bombs clip up. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that's a thing. Had no idea that's a thing. That's interesting. Do I gotta put it here then too? Okay, let's try it. So, yada, yada, yada. Originally, you want it to be true. You want it to start true. You want it to start true. It should be there. You hit it. It's not going to come back. If you level up, then you should be good. So let's like hit this shit here. Because I just literally realized that levels you up. All right. So we had like the yellow 1, 2. We're cooking. Bam, 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 bam. Just testing. We're gonna come all the way down. Bam, bam. 1, 2, 3. Yep, we're cooking. Yep. So that was. I guess that's all. Fantastic. No, this is looking great, man. You're doing awesome. Absolutely great. I'm gonna Control A, Control C. I'll even actually file save like that. And we're just gonna open. What the heck? PyCharm. There you are. We're gonna go. I believe this is yep, that guy. Bam, bam. Yeah, nah. I got so many things I'm trying to accomplish myself. I tell you what, I don't have time at the moment, but what I will do is go like this. I know you just seen it. You can do it yourself. Yada yada. Bam. Enjoy. Just in case you forget or something. I don't know. There it is. Glad I could help. Glad it wasn't crazy and I'm sitting here going, ah. But yeah, there's something kind of neat I seen. Go here in Pygame and go like here and this, I did not realize. Actually, where the heck did I find that at? I think I just like typed in like Pygame color like this. Is that? Am I in the same file? I for sure am. Named colors. Aha! This. I was playing around with this earlier at work, and I thought I copy pasted the right file from my email, but apparently I didn't save proper. I didn't realize that Pygame has all these fucking colors. This is neat as hell. And so I was populating these guys with all kinds of random colors and shit. It was pretty neat. Yeah, you learn something new every day. With that said, what I'm trying to do is we created like this little fizz guy, blah blah blah, object oriented bullshit, yada yada. Had this stuff going. We don't want to create the object here. We just want to do the math, and we want to create the object in C++, render it in SFML, and then just have this guy going, "Hey, I'm your little math wizard thing." The reason I like this type of thing here, this type of check needs to be done with the objects in C++. This type of stuff as well, very likely, like this whole container. And with this math stuff, it works. It's nice. Yeah, could keep it in Pygame, but not the point of yeah, no problem, man. You'd be surprised. You know, I come across some problems that I'm just like, what the fuck? And then a kid at school will be like, you do realize it's just this, right? And I'm like, I guess. Thanks. And it usually happens. It happens more times than you think. Or you'll be taking a shit and you're like, oh, that's it. It's just wild. Your brain, the things. But yeah, I basically have to rewrite what's here and package it in its nice little own Python file ready for shipment to C++. So what are we going to call this? Because I called the other one Fizzlib in preparation for that, but I guess what we can do. Nah, we're gonna do how do I want to handle this? What do we want to call this part of the scripted engine thingy? I want to call it something cool. Python, snakes, Amazon thingies, SFML, collision, physics. Yeah, I don't know. It's something. Let's call it SF. No, because I could get confusing with the other library. Let's call it physics. Python Physics Detection System. PPDS. Works for me. This is where we're actually going to write the implementation. This was the nice little test framework, proof of concept. This is what we're going to ship to C++. So we don't care about importing Pygame. We probably do want to import math. Probably the smart move. Now, there's a conversation I was having with the damn robot earlier today, and I want to take a look at that real quick. And let me see. So, yeah, we're going over a little bit of game design stuff, yada yada. Slightly up here. Yeah, we're getting closer to boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this is the thing it was talking about. It was like, hey, you have like some index that keeps track of how many objects you have, and in this case, they're not objects. And it even said something I think down below here. Instead of doing it like this in the bucket system, we just had this. There's another thing I think where it's like, hey, don't even like have, yeah, this here. It said, use flat data arrays. Avoid sending Python objects. Instead, send or a batched form like this. Maintain registry of entities. Each object lives in C++, updated and drawn per frame. Each has position, yada yada yada. And I thought this might be kind of interesting, though not quite sure. In all honesty, like how to, because this is all fine and dandy in theory, but it's gonna be kind of fucking weird. Like send spawn command, that yada, like, you know, it'll be strange. So this is one of the parts that also. Let me get some water real quick. It's like right next to me. So this part right there was also very interesting to me. It's like using this NumPy thing and some type of data types that's being passed into it. Though, again, this is a class, and it was kind of contradicting itself below, going, hey, you probably don't even want classes. You want like a thing. I don't know what the hell you'd call that. Because it kind of looks like a struct, but this is Python. So I had it this. I go, can you explain this portion? It goes, absolutely, yada yada. Context, you're preparing a batch-friendly format to represent your objects using NumPy arrays. NumPy is fast and memory efficient, which makes it ideal to sending bulk data to C++. And so it's like, hey, import this, do some objects. So I wonder if we're even going to use math, like the import math library. Might just have something like this. This part, it didn't quite make a whole lot of sense to me, though, because it's like, what is actually happening here? We have NumPy, zeros. Passing num objects, like what the heck does a 2 stand for in this scenario? This creates 1,000 by 2 array of floats initialized to 0. Array of floats. So it's a float array. It's like a bunch of different floats. In this case, 2,000 of them here. And then this is just setting the type, I think. So position, yada, yada, yada. Each row represents the X and Y position of one object. Each row. Not quite sure what it meant by row there. Some shapes hold as positions. You'll update this per frame. Accelerations, very similar. Masses. And if this makes any sense to you, let me know, because I thought this was pretty fucking wild of it. Because with the first proof of concept I made with the interoperability, I was sending objects all day. Though it did concern me when I spawned in a shit ton in Python. I was like, oh damn, look at that frame rate drop. And then realized like, oh, I'm also going to be sending all this data over to C++ as well, and that's going to cost some time. And so here, even though we're sending objects, it really doesn't matter. It's like there's no physics happening. The calls are so negligible, it is what it is. Where this other one's completely different. And so I can see why it's like, hey, throw this stuff not into a object, but just like data, and then over in SFML actually do something with that data. So just checking here. Python, great question. Your current add balls method like this. Yep, that seems correct. To convert this logic to a NumPy batch-friendly system, you'd stop instantiating full Python objects and instead store data directly into the arrays, like position or velocity. So we store data, we make a position array, we make a velocity array. So, right, okay, we make an array. So when we add a ball, depending on this, that's where that goes. Okay, that's making cheddar tick right there. That's actually making kind of some sense. It looks like it has like some type of max object versus self count, and going, yo, NumPy bullshit. That's all I'm gonna call that, is straight up NumPy bullshit. Instead of creating a new object, you assign the x and y position, mass, and other properties at the correct index in your NumPy arrays. That keeps track of that, and it's gonna help for this. And so I go, oh, okay, I create the data and not the objects, send the data and handle the objects over there with that data, it like that, yada yada. So with that said, we're gonna be doing some trickeries here. I'm just gonna kind of look at this. I do not want to copy paste. You're gonna see me flipping back and forth. I could keep this in the other screen, but then I can't see the chat, and I'd rather do that. So first things first, over in this section here, I'm gonna, what is it? It's like from NumPy. No, okay, because that would import all from NumPy, import all. No, we want like import NumPy as NP. That gives, why is NumPy mad at me? Is that like some type of module we actually have to install? Here. NumPy. Thank you. Yeah, suppose. That's a whole ass separate little library thing. Oh. Oh. I think that's it. Yeah, fantastic. All right, so we got the NumPy. Looking back here, say, hey, some type of number of objects. In this case, let's not go full 1,000. I mean, that thing's pretty nuts. Yeah. The format is not only dysfunctional, it kind of defeats the purpose in a lot of ways, right? Because programming is just like syntax for the bigger thing of problem solving. Like I play chess a lot. I'm not a great chess player, but I enjoy chess. And problem solving is like life, right? Like you got an argument with your wife or your sister or your brother or some random fuck guy, out and about who's just being an asshole. You got to problem solve. You got to problem solve in real time. Finances, yada yada yada. Programming is problem solving, right? And so like if you're gonna have a robot problem solve for you, it can be useful in like getting the gears turning. Now, not like look, like I'm having this thing problem solve for me, because sometimes it's hard. It's hard to go. You like hit a wall and you're like, and you kind of like. So it's interesting. I am an older student. I'm 29, and I came back to college in spring of 2024. So technically, I am a sophomore in the digital animation and game design program. Uh, I went to school in 2014, 2015, 2016. I smoked weed, tripped on acid, fucked around, and learned a lot of lessons. Had had the experiences. Worked in factories, worked as an iron worker, and realized if I don't like it, I gotta go to school. Unfortunately, like I was coding on my own time as a hobby, but it was something I really enjoyed, and I wanted game design. And so I have 4 semesters left because I have like 80 something credits. That's kind of how I felt too, man. And 32. That's young. Like we are young. We are young yet. It's interesting. Uh, 60. I'm sure you know people in your life who are 60, and they can seem old, but I think this might be happening to you as well. You're looking at 40-year-old women or men. I don't know what or who you're into. I don't want to assume. And you're like, they're not bad looking. Oh shit, I'm getting old, right? Like it's that, but realizing that we're still youthful and the hard part for going back to college is the money. Like I'm still using FAFSA, and then I got to pay this money back. And knowing like if I don't follow through and get the bachelor's degree of applied science, that's kind of worthless, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, you went back to college for the fourth time, Brett. Not the best thing. So yeah, yeah. So the graphic design program here at Ferris, I know a lot of people who dropped out of that, including my brother Scott. He actually went over to the technical writing, if you can believe that. Yeah, he got like an associate's in technical writing, and now he works from home. Bought his own house. The only one of us kids who actually left Newego and was able to do that. Um, you know, the the digital animation and game design program at Ferris State University is pretty damn good. Like it feels like a family for the most part. Things are challenging yet fun. My assignments are not boring at all. Uh, Real quick, I'll show you. If we go to here, spring 230, assignment 9, ba, 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 ba. It should have like a zip here. Should be able to just play that. Actually, maybe not. Yeah, right. So like this here. Let me read. I completed my degree and never touched software again. I went to a technical school for a year at Cisco. But dropped out because a teacher partied with my friend. Life. So this is something I made using 3ds Max Autodesk. Um, and then I put him in Unreal Engine and I animated him with Mixamo. And this was my final project for the second modeling class. Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking about making a small platforming game with my little Mega Man guy in Unreal. But again, you see me doing this thing and that thing, and I'm kind of all over the place, little ADHD. But so like the assignments in the DAGD program are fun. Like so 255, we made this thing here. If I go into this, this is Java and processing. Yeah, my family's prescribed that. I kind of like having my mania ish. But yeah, so like this was my final assignment for game programming too. Java and processing, and it's pretty fun. It's a little dungeon crawler. You shoot shit, open up fucking shit, so on and so forth. And this was just the last assignment. You only get 3 assignments in that whole class. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, this wasn't coded in Python. This was in Java. But you likely did see it. This was Project 2 for the same class. So we have a endless runner. You can like pick up these items here. And it's actually pretty easy. For like this thing, it's kind of boring with how OP you become very quickly. You just like, you start kind of like how your game, you're like, yeah, I just go up and down and spam. Very similar. And so like you're just fucking going. You got your guys, you're collecting items and doing shit. Yeah, that was assignment 2. I just ended it. Yeah, and so like assignment 2 was fun. Assignment 1, we had to make a mouse-based arcade game. So I'm going to go into here and here. This game is available on itch. Let me actually turn this one down. It's a little intense. Yeah, there's actually, we'll go back to that. There's a lot of, this was the Oh shit. Yeah, my bad. My bad. That yeah, that game is its volume is awful. Yeah, yeah. My bad on that. So the other game, there's something else, and the volume might fuck up again. So I'm sorry if that happens. But I'll show that one more time really quick, and I'll explain just a little detail that is that kind of goes by the wayside, and it was kind of a cool problem I had to solve while making this endless runner. If you notice, you get stuck there, right? And then if you come down, you like wait for that wall, and you'll get stuck here. Now, if you if you manage to pick up like one of these items, like this green guy, oop, I died. If you pick up the green item, it'll like double your ship. Not double your ship, it'll just like add a ship to you. Now imagine what happens if one ship touches the ceiling. How do you handle the second ship, right? So like now we have two ships. Getting it for the movement for one ship to stop. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting how they're all layered up like that. That's kind of unfortunate that that happens too. Right. So notice they're not how you say, it stops the movement from all of them. And that was a very interesting problem to solve in the scenario, where you have this originally one would hit and the other ones would go until they collided too. So that was oh yeah. Volume on that one is probably better. The other games volume was just nuts. So probably the decibels inside of the WAV file I was using was just insane. And yeah, so like that was year 2. You know, year 1, where would it even be? Like, I think it's here. Yeah, I only have like part of this stuff. This is like a final project. I think what, like new, like this was. The multiple ships. I noticed there was a ship that was north of the. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to like have a random offset. Sometimes they get a little crunched together. Sometimes they're just a little bit out, sticking their nose out. So it was somewhat intended. Yeah, that last thing I showed, that was 3D modeling 1, and so a lot of these classes are just insanely fun to do. They're not boring. Data structures, not saying data structures is boring, but it's not entirely exciting, to say the least. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna start going back to the task at hand, slowly but surely. I can't pixel art for shit. Every the dungeon crawler, I didn't make the art for that entirely. So the this guy here, this was made by this guy. I asked him if he could make it. He was working on some art for my Steam game, which is Rogue Tank. This game's kind of crap, honestly. It was the first game I ever made. Put a lot of love into it, but at the same time, this was before Game Programming 2. This was actually before Game Programming 1. Is when I started making this, so it's rough. It's definitely rough. I mean, I played old school too, man. Oh, I also play old school RuneScape. It's funny because my name on shit. The heck? What the heck? Oh, I haven't played old school in a minute. What the heck even is my name? Huh? Yeah. The heck was the last thing I was even doing? I think I got like my archery or range. I mean, to like 70. I think. Yeah, you could see my Jagex launcher. So. It's been a while. You know what they say. You never quit. You just take extended breaks. Okay. Um, One thing that always bothers me with RuneScape is yeah. One thing that bothers me with the game is no matter how much I've played, I still feel like I'm in early game. I'm nowhere near like I might be in like the early of middle game finally to where because I'm playing with an Iron Man, um, and I do have membership right now technically because I paid for like a year subscription back in October and then took my break, which makes sense, right? Um, but yeah, last thing I did, like I did a lot of quests. I think I did every free to play quest. And that's why I got membership, and I did a few of a good chunk of the members quests. I got the damn staff from the guy in the wilderness. No. The guy in the wilderness, the fucking he's like the spell guy. Bah! I got the fucking rune crossbow drop from him. Iron. Yeah, I'm Iron Man on mine. And I finally got like the rune crossbow drop off that like what is it called like the insane archaeologist or some shit off in the wildy over there. Yeah, that guy. Um, that was a big win. I got Ivan's staff, but I still feel like early mid game or like end of early game or still maybe mid early. Like it's hard to tell. And I would like to go bossing. Like that's I've done every free to play quest. I do need to do the other ones. But it's also a so like for example, TOA. The heck is TOA? Something. What's that acronym? That's probably gonna ring a bell. Raids 3. Man, well, you gotta be like what level like Tombs of oh, that's probably past my guy right now. The heck? Hold on. What the heck even is my guy's name? Let me look here. It had been a minute. Yeah, I was thinking you gotta be like level 110 or something. I think I'm like the heck is it like ba, 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 ba. Let's see if I even remember my shit. So you're getting me distracted, and this is one thing I wanted to bring up about this damn game here. So 76 yada 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 is it's a good game. It very yeah okay. So my guy's name's Liquid Time. Um, it's a good game. Oh, my girlfriend would actually be happy to hear that too. I've used RuneLite. Um, it's nice you got like the HD pack and stuff. I haven't played enough as of late to make it worth my time though. I think 370s should be fine. Yeah, we should be fine. It's actually probably gonna ask me to log back in because it's been so long. Unless that's no, I'm thinking phone. Yeah, phone wise does that damn shit. Yeah, it looks like I was fishing last time. The heck, where's my middle mouse? My middle mouse is a little fucked up. Oh goddamn. This is what I get for dropping my mouse all the time. Let me go here. So yeah, I'm not bad off. Right? Like I got decent for this. I got like the prayers at least 43. The room crafting, I fuck that thing. Uh, Whatever. I think now that I'm looking at this, yeah. So I don't know if you can tell because of the way my camera is, but just kind of give you a little view there. Um, I don't got no desk. I'm quite literally like on a wood ass kitchen chair, sitting in in my bedroom. I rent. Don't have the means for good stuff at the moment. But yeah, total level 1,135. You can tell I made progress. We got like our little Iron Man symbol there. And quest wise, we'll just go here real quick. I think it's that one. Yeah, right. So like I've done every free to play. And then like we got like a handful of members stuff that I've done. What the heck is that? Regicide. Guess there's mini quests in the game too. Yeah, he's solid. He's solid for what he is, but this is kind of like the hard part of life, right? So like I work. I just got an internship with ID Tech. I'm going to be teaching at a summer camp. I'm trying to like get really good at coding, and then there's games like my buddy Jack. He wants to play Wild Rift on the phone, and I've known Jack since I was 4 years old. My nephew Dylan, he wants to play games as well. I like RuneScape, but I don't have time to play it either. I have all these games on Steam I don't have time to play because it's not, and let me rephrase it, it's not that I don't have time. It's that I allocate my time to things that will hopefully get me a better spot in life so that I can spend more time on things that are entertaining for me. At this point in my life, it's kind of a shitty thing to have to do. Like I had to stop drinking. I had to stop smoking weed. I had to clean myself up. And I tell you, man, it's shit. Some days I'm like, why? But at the same time, if I keep working and I keep doing it, maybe it'll make a difference. Yeah. Yeah. It happens. My girlfriend's actually calling me. So with that, I'm gonna end the stream. But I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow.